The 60 seconds that decide if a sinking ship's crew lives. When a ship starts flooding, the crew isn't given hours to react. They're not even given 10 minutes. International law gives them exactly 60 seconds, and if a single door misses that window, the outcome isn't a slow sinking. It's fast, and it's violent. This is Regulation 1351 of SOLAS, the Safety of Life at Sea Convention, the rulebook that governs every commercial ship on Earth, from cargo carriers to cruise liners. It states that power-operated, watertight sliding doors must be able to close in no more than 60 seconds, with an audible and visual warning before they start moving. That single sentence is the difference between a ship that survives a hull breach and a ship that doesn't. Because a ship isn't one solid hollow shell. It's divided into sealed sections like the compartments in an ice cube tray, so that if the sea gets into one, the rest stay dry and the ship stays afloat. A large passenger ship can have dozens of these doors, spread across multiple decks, all wired back to a single control panel on the bridge. In an emergency, the officer on watch doesn't run from door to door. One command, and every door in the danger zone starts its countdown at the same time. But all of that engineering only works if the doors actually close in time. And the reason that number is 60, not 30, not 5 minutes, goes back to a ship where the doors closed exactly as planned, and it still wasn't enough. In 1912, a transatlantic liner struck an iceberg and was, on paper, one of the most subdivided ships ever built. It had watertight compartments, it had doors that could close from the bridge, but there was a flaw nobody had accounted for. The walls between those compartments didn't go high enough. As the front compartments filled, the ship tilted forward, and water simply poured over the top of each wall into the next one like an ice cube tray tipped on its side. The doors closed exactly as designed. It didn't matter. The compartments were sealed on the sides, but not on top. The ship sank in under 3 hours, and more than 1,500 people died. The investigation that followed didn't just blame the iceberg, it triggered the first international conference on maritime safety. And that conference produced the original SOLAS Convention just 2 years later. That should have closed the story. It didn't. Because a sealed door and a sealed ship turned out to be two very different things, and the next disaster proved it a different way entirely. On a modern ship, watertight doors aren't just heavy metal slabs. They're motorized, and they can be triggered two ways: locally by a crew member standing at the door, or remotely from that single control panel on the bridge. When the officer triggers a group closure, here's what happens inside that 60-second window. An alarm sounds near every door. A warning light starts flashing. Crew members standing in the doorway have that window to clear the compartment before the mechanism engages. Then, and only then, the door begins to slide shut slow enough that a hand or a body can't be crushed, but fast enough that the compartment seals before enough water gets in to matter. There's also a manual backup built into every one of these doors. If the power fails, if the hydraulics fail, a crew member can still close it by hand using a wheel or lever. Regulators built in redundancy because they learned, the hard way, that a system with only one way to work is a system that eventually fails. On paper, this looks airtight. In practice, one ship proved that even a fully watertight design means nothing if the doors are never closed at all. In 1987, a car ferry left port in Belgium with its bow doors still open, a failure that had nothing to do with the 60-second rule and everything to do with what happens when watertight integrity is ignored altogether. Water surged directly into the car deck as the ship picked up speed. There were no internal doors to stop it from spreading, because that deck wasn't subdivided the way passenger areas below were a single open space, by design, so vehicles could drive straight through. The ship capsized in about 90 seconds. 90 seconds less time than it takes to read this sentence twice. 193 people died. The lesson from that disaster wasn't just about bow doors. It was about what happens the moment watertight compartmentalization breaks down. Whether by mechanical failure or human error, a ship doesn't get a slow, dramatic sinking. it gets a violent, fast one. And that raises a question most people never think to ask. Why does a little bit of moving water do more damage than a lot of still water? Here's the part most people miss. It's not just about how much water gets in, it's about what that water does once it's inside. When water floods a compartment that isn't full, it doesn't sit still, it sloshes from side to side as the ship rolls. Engineers call this the free surface effect, and it's dangerous because that moving water shifts the ship's center of gravity with every wave. A ship that could easily handle a sealed, flooded compartment can become unstable in minutes if that same compartment is left open to the sea, still filling, still sloshing. This is why a ship can survive a hole in its hull, but still capsize. The hole isn't what kills stability. The uncontrolled, moving water behind it is. Once a compartment is fully flooded and sealed off, the water inside stops shifting, and the ship can settle into a new, stable equilibrium, even if it's sitting lower in the water than before. That's why naval architects don't design ships to survive flooding. They design them to survive flooding that stops, and the only thing that stops it is a door, sealed within that 60-second window. It's a rule most passengers will never notice, buried in a maritime convention most people have never heard of. But it's the reason a hull breach today is usually a repair bill, and 100 years ago, it was a headline. 60 seconds. That's the margin modern engineering built between a contained accident and a catastrophe.